following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Well, no, what I'm saying is someone's still going to win, and it might be weak. If just
I know
half the field, just about half the field is playing badly, with golf, you can easily say, oh, the course must be hard. They're all playing bad. You know what I mean? It all kind of comes back to earth a little bit.
Sergio has been like, I can't wait to leave this place. Rah, 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 rah.
Yeah. And here we are. Season 2 is what we're going to call this, because why not? It's a new year, and we are back. Not that we ever went anywhere. We've always been here with you guys. But the DFS and the betting portion of golf is back, and we are excited to bring that. Bud, before we get to some bigger news that we just have to get to, because we are a sports show, how are you this evening? What is going on from the basement or from wherever that is in your house?
You say the basement like I'm Will Ferrell screaming for meatloaf over here. One step shy of that. My sugar mama upstairs taking care of my kid. No, I'm doing great. Happy New Year to you. I hope it was a safe, happy holiday season. And you said something on the outset that reminded me, because when I told my roommate, I was like, "Hey, it's Tuesday night. You know what that means? Wink, wink." And yeah, we all know what that means. And she goes, "Oh, I know, every Tuesday." And I said, "You know what? I'm going to take that snarky little remark and I'm going to wear it as a badge of honor, because she's right. Every Tuesday, for almost a better part of a year now, you and I have gotten here and we've hashed out whatever's been going on in the golf world. Take a breath. It's been an emotional day. Take a breath. Yes. And also the rest of life. That's the point of the show, right? It's not all golf. Life is not golf. Golf is not life, as we lose followers everywhere. And nothing. Yeah, right. This is tiptoeing this line and this delicate pivot. How do we pivot from this intro into what you alluded to, which is what we all saw last night? And there is no way to pivot. But the point I was trying to make is we do stick to things. As sports fans, as podcast people, we live by routine. We thrive on it. And last night was one of those moments where the routine got broken. We've seen people take hits before. We've seen the ambulance come out. We've seen people take a knee. We've seen people, in tears. We always get the thumbs up, or the ambulance drives off after a minute or two. And all right, let's get back to it. And that moment never came. And that's why I think today, we have to address it right off the rip. Thoughts and prayers to, Damar Hamlin. Sorry, I was about to say Denny Hamlin. Wrong sport.
Oh, jeez.
That's I mean.
Yeah, I know.
That's all that came to mind. I think his GoFundMe, the GoFundMe they set up has crossed 5 million at this point. Earlier this morning, it was at 3.5. It's up to 5 million now, and it's not for him or his medical bills. It's for charities and organizations that he and I think his mother work with. And perspective is one word that comes to mind, but gratitude's the other. You asked earlier, how you doing? And I feel grateful. I'm overwhelmed with gratitude for my health, for the company I keep, for the opportunity to do this with you and have wonderful people who on the backside support us and allow us to come up here and chop it up every week and keep things in perspective, because there's people who've been doing this a lot longer than I, and they're at a loss for words right now. And it's because we've never seen this before. We are humans. The other players that have passed on, back in the 80s, was it Hank Gathers, Len Bias, it wasn't on live national television in front of a hyped game like this to the eyeballs and the instant connection to each other. And then there's Twitter and, people are just throwing slings and arrows. So if there's anything that I could take away from it, it's perspective and gratitude. And the last one being a little bit of empathy, and try to give people space to process this kind of stuff. You don't know what's going through somebody's mind when they see that from their couch. You don't know what it might have gone on in their day that reignited something where they connected in another way. and people have to get through it however they need to. Hopefully they tune this in and they haven't tuned out yet, and because we are going to kind of turn the corner here. But thoughts and prayers from everybody, everybody here at Divots and Pivots, Belly Up, everybody that we work with. We can't stress urgently enough. If you have a thought or a vibe that you put out in the universe, send one to Buffalo, New York, or Cincinnati right now, I guess.
100%, and shout out to the Cincinnati fans and the city and the ownership and the administration in Cincinnati as a whole for the support they gave to the Bills, gave to the Hamlin family. That can't be lost or forgotten. It even goes all the way back to when, what was it, like 3 or 4 years ago, when the Bills fan base overwhelmingly showed up for a GoFundMe for Andy Dalton's situation there. So there's this weird connection with these two fan bases, these two administrations. So you just, those are the things you like to see people gather together when it's needed, when it becomes more than sports. And that's what we saw. Unfortunately, with the circumstances last night, we did see the camaraderie happen.
And you said it, much more than sports. Sports, I've told the story before, I'm going to tell it again, derived from a word that means escape, something to take our mind off of things. And that's what we're going to try to do here.
Yes.
It is a new year, like you said, at season 2. And why not? Because we live on the South Korean calendar. And if you're not fluent in South Korean culture, you gain a year every January 1st. So there's the day you were born, you're 1. Did you know about this, by the way?
No, you're confusing the hell out of me right now.
Are you serious?
Explain.
Okay.
I've never heard this before.
So South Korean, the way that they count age over there, the day you're born, you are 1. You are 1, and then every January, and then after that, every subsequent time you gain a year on that number, it's on January 1st. So if you're a baby born December 31st. You are 2 the next day on January 1. Does that make sense now? Like, I don't mean it makes sense.
So it's like, just one big birthday party on New Year's Eve over there then. Happy birthday, everyone.
Yeah, I guess we could say that. Happy belated birthday to all our fans in South Korea wearing the WAC gear. Kevin Na, huge WAC guy, and not just because he's on Live. He actually it's a pretty interesting clothing brand and style. But it's a new year, so we got a new show. We have some new updates to share. We got some new segments that we're gonna kind of unveil to bring some structure and fun. Structure and fun aren't 2 words you normally hear around one another.
It's definitely not on the show.
But without rules, then you just have chaos and anarchy in every game, including golf, and there's integrity and more that goes into it. But before we go any further, how was your New Year's? What'd you do? Who were you with?
I was just with my kids for New Year's. It was a daddy weekend, and New Year's Eve, we played games. We watched a movie. The kids were in bed by 9. I was in bed right after them, and I just laid in bed until midnight and then fell right asleep.
You laid right in bed. You laid in bed until that poor kicker from Ohio State had to just college kicker all over himself.
I didn't have it on, but I loved all the jokes about how what was all the jokes out there that saying, oh, the Ohio State fans were so lucky, even though they were gonna miss the ball drop in Times Square, they get to see it drop 50 yards short and to the left.
I too hung out with the fam. We had some friends over. They went home early with their kids. It's funny because we joked about how 10 years ago, I'd probably still be on the couch that's over there. But here's to the gods. Hopefully we can get through one more, and my Georgia dogs can go back to back. And the Stetson, the mailman Bennett the 4th, will ride off into the sunset.
They almost didn't make it there. I was almost going to be having to call. What's it called? What do the police do? Those when they check, they go and knock.
Wellness check.
Wellness check. I was going to do a wellness check on you because I wasn't sure how you'd be taken if they blew that game.
It was. The funny thing is like, yeah, I mean, there's no. Yes, we got lucky, but I mean, people also forget Georgia missed 2 field goals earlier in the game. You make those, and maybe the difference isn't there. So things happen. Everybody, you need a little luck. Come on, hashtag Bill Buckner. You need a little luck in this world, and we got some, luckily. And so next Monday, TCU Horned Frogs are going to get a dirty taste of SEC football. I do think we're healthy enough. I think that was not the miracle on ice, but people forget the miracle on ice for the Americans. That was just the semifinal. That was not the gold medal game. They still had to go take care of business. Same thing with the Sox in 2004. 4 days in October unlocked the chance to go play for the title. So I do think that Georgia's going to repeat. And again, Stetson will ride off into the sunset. But something that I am swearing off of. Actually, I don't want to do that yet. We've talked about this before, and I teased it earlier. So we're going to start. You're tuning into Divots and Pivots, brought to you by the generous folks at Belly Up Sports, Marler Bros, Fantasy National, and Piper Golf. If you haven't piped it lately, you're not living. So, and go to any. By the way, go to any of those websites. Promo code DivPiv and get 10% off. Go ahead.
Live on the mind for you. Yeah, and if you are a fan of Fantasy National Golf Club and using their research tools for your DFS plays or all your fantasy plays just in general, the Moose from Fantasy National will be on in the coming weeks, so make sure to be aware of the socials. We will be having the Moose on as a guest to hear from him live, so make sure to stay tuned in here as always.
Would it be a bridge too far if I wore a T-shirt that had a giant moose on the front?
Not at all.
I've worn it on the show before. Actually, it's a fun story.
I remember, yeah, because you pointed it out that it was one night you were wearing it is when you realized that the logo was a moose.
I think I was that moment old when I realized that. But something that we're going to be introducing in season 2 is a segment of the show we like to call Divot or Pivot. And if you can't tell from the name, that's exactly what you do with the topic. If you like it, you dig into it. You take a big old fat hairy beaver pelt of a divot, and you see that sucker fly off into the distance, and you tell your caddy, go fetch that. If you don't like it, you pivot. You pivot, and you walk away fast. You might even run from it. So topic 1 on Divot or Pivot for you and I today, New Year's resolutions. Where do you stand, sir?
I don't do them. It's always it's always just like I don't know. It's always empty.
Oh,
it's always empty. So and then it's a lot of pressure to just do something that you should do anyways. If it's in your head to do it as a resolution, you're only putting more pressure on yourself to then do it, which then when you have a setback, it's easier to walk away from for some reason.
I love it. You're a pivot on this because you want to avoid failure and pressure and accountability for yourself. I too am a pivot on the New Year's resolutions.
That way, Jesus, that's not what I was trying to say. But
no, but you did put something interesting in there, and it is my point, and that's where I started shaking my finger for those of you watching on YouTube's. Go ahead and click wherever that bell is. Go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss this lovely action. We could never charge you for this content to rip off Dan Patrick as always. I'm a pivot, and there's something there that you said that is the reason I'm a pivot. Why New Year's? What's so special about New Year's? I think people use New Year's resolutions as a crutch in the wrong way to say, I'm going to wait until New Year's. And then what happens? Then we have a Sunday New Year's Day, which is Sunday synonymous with the day of rest. There was football on, come on, New Year's Day, I'll start on Monday. What happened Monday? Well, because New Year's Day was on Sunday, Monday was a holiday. Nobody went to work.
Observation holiday. Everyone's at the bars. Everyone's out at lunch.
Yeah. And now it's Tuesday. You just got caught up on, so no, if you have something in mind, you got a change you want to make, to quote Coach Prime now. And I don't know if you saw his speech. No, I don't know if you saw his speech to Jackson State before their bowl game that they lost in gut-wrenching fashion at the very last minute. No, he started talking, and then he just stopped, and he was tearing up, and he was, and they were all like, "We love you, Coach," and he just started saying the word "now" over and over and over, and it was really empowering. So no, pivot away from those New Year's resolutions. Do it if you want to do it.
And then what else also happens is leading up to New Year's, you're like, well, I'm like the 2 weeks leading up to New Year's where you've already decided what your resolution is going to be. You're like, oh yeah, well, I'm starting that in 2 weeks, so I'm going to live it up right now. You're just going to make it harder for yourself. Like there's just no point in my eyes.
I'm a big Christmas resolution because, like you said, if I don't have something to do in the week between Christmas, by the way, I heard a word that's kind of uncomfortable. It's up there with moise and uncomfortableness. Betwixtmas.
Betwixtmas?
Yeah, I saw this term.
I mean, I understand what it's meaning, but
right. But
it's a strange one.
The only other time I've heard the word betwixt is in the definition of the word taint, and I'm going to let the kids go look that up. Number 2, wearing sports jerseys. I'm not putting any context around it. Divot or pivot, wearing sports jerseys, go.
I'm there for it. I wear them. Well, I wear football once. And no, I wear football and hockey. No, you know what? I wear football, hockey, and baseball. I just don't have the body to pull off the basketball jersey because I don't have the shoulders and the arms to really make that work. It just looks like I'm wearing a freaking blanket that I've worn through.
Unless you're paying off a bet or getting paid to wear it in the performance of an act. I'm not even going to say you have to be a pro sportsman, because if some stripper comes out in a TO jersey, who am I to judge? But I really wanted to go buy one of the Boston Bruins. What the hell is the outdoor game?
The Winter Classic. Those uniforms were so fire.
Those were dope, and it got me thinking. Like, I can't go anywhere in that because A, I'm not from Boston. I don't have the accent for it. B, I've never skated in my life outside of the 7th grade class trip in Washington D.C.
It's weird for support.
That's why, I do have a Boston Bruins beanie, but I think to myself, everybody wears beanies up here. It's like wearing a ball cap. You're fine. I think a jersey is an investment too far that I'm not willing to make myself. I don't hate anybody for wearing jerseys, mostly because I like seeing not the parody jerseys, but maybe ironic jerseys. Custom jerseys are cute for couples as long as they're dirty or you're over the age or you've been married 40 years or more. But by and large, if you're wearing a jersey, what are you doing? Come on, get a nice pocket tee from Mahler Brothers using the promo code DivPiv and really fly your flag that way.
Obviously, yes. If I had the opportunity to wear a jersey of second ball All-American, I'm wearing second ball All-American. That's a no-brainer. But I do rock the jerseys. I have 2 Bruins. I have 2 Patriots ones and a Red Sox.
So, fun fact, friends of the show might know this. Actually, my friends don't even know it, let alone friends of the show. I was born in Washington, or right outside of Washington, D.C. in Fairfax, Virginia. And so in the early 80s, right when the
Washington football team.
No, they have a name. They're the Commanders.
I know they do.
And I like it. I'm here for it. Which means it also tipped my hand on the other one, which I've always had a love for them just because my family went through there when they were winning major sports, victories in the Super Bowls and whatnot. So I've always felt an affinity for them. I think I might have to not get on the bandwagon. I'm a Pats guy till I die. That's my thing. My thing. I wear white before Labor Day. That's my thing. Major Tutty. Did you see Major Tutty? And what are your thoughts on Major Tutty? Divot or pivot on Major Tutty?
I actually haven't. No. I did not. I was not prepared for that one.
Truth gun to your head. Do you know?
I completely skipped over that line in the show prep.
Right there in the rundown between sports jerseys and live golf. All right, so Major Tutty. If the folks at home want to Google it, actually don't Google. You're probably in the car and just keep driving. We'll tell you. That's the new mascot for the Washington Commanders. It's a fat pig.
That's what I figured.
It's like a giant cartoon looking pig. With a war helmet, the Commanders vibe, and then obviously the pig, because it's a shout out to the Dirty Hogs or whatever they called themselves, the Big Uglies that won a bunch of those 80s Super Bowls. So Major Tutty, I'm divoting Major Tutty. I might dig in and get a pound of bacon off of Major Tutty's backside.
You know what I love about the costume that they're rocking for Major Tutty is that
easy now. It's my boy. Actually, we don't know what he or she identifies as.
Like, I get that he's a pig, but if he's a pig, make the legs proportionate to the belly, because they just straight up gave the man like a triple muffin top. It's just, or whatever, but it's just an awkward looking body of a costume. That's how I feel about that.
Hey, big mascots need loving too. All right,
nothing wrong with that. Just make the legs make sense too, because the legs just look way too skinny for the size of that pig.
Oh my God! Hashtag Tutty. Hashtag Tutty love. Hashtag get Tutty. Major Tutty. I don't know where Tutty comes from. I'm sure there's some sort of Washington football commander nickname in the history of it all. Liv, you said it earlier, and
I want touchdown. It's a short for touchdown. You not heard that before, Tutty?
I will not give you shit for not doing your homework and knowing about this major sports story before, because I actually did put that together earlier and I read it. An existential presence in this show throughout the year is going to be live golf. And I think you can't cover the sport of golf or talk about sports in our arena without acknowledging it's there. So it's going to be, I don't know if it's going to be a weekly topic, but given that it's the first week of the year and we're doing a lot of prognosticating and prognostications, shout out Groundhog Day coming up. Will a live player wins a major this year? Divot or pivot?
So I thought long and hard about this one.
In the shower.
I think they do. I think one does. I think Smith can still do it. I think DJ can still do it. I think one of them does, and I think they're gonna be able to have that fire on their back of wanting to prove to everyone that they still play real golf. So I think somebody wins one this year. Chase Koepka.
Bloop, bloop, points for you for going deep on the shout.
By the way, just really quick side spin here. Did you see Chase Koepka played on Bob Does Sports on their YouTube channel? He did a 1v3 scramble against them and he lost.
You know, I'm a pretty confident golfer myself. I think I would take you. I would be willing to let you blindly go out and find somebody of yours and take the two of you on scramble. You introduce any Joe shit, the rag man or woman for the third, and I'm out. 3, it's hard to beat.
It's 3. You get 3 looks at everything too. It's
that said,
and plus those guys have gotten good at golf. Fat Perez is like he could be, at least on an amateur tour, a secondary tour or something. He is aces. I don't know if you've ever watched their channel or seen him swing. The man is nails.
I like that you went from aces, a nice little wink, wink, nod, nod golf reference and live reference. I agree. I think Cam Smith, and actually this is a shout out to my I almost jokingly said future former brother-in-law. That's my future former 9-to-5. My brother-in-law. Wow. He texted me the other day. And he says, "Do you think a live player is going to win a major?" And I actually am saying no. I don't think it's going to happen. Okay. I agree with what you said that DJ's got the firepower, especially at Augusta. I could see DJ winning one more at Augusta if everything holds true with the exemptions and whatnot. Because the same way we saw Tiger win one at Augusta, that course suits people who A, favor a cut, B, are long as you know what, and C, when you're as talented as those guys are, you can catch lightning in a bottle for 4 days around a very familiar course. I just think the numbers are too great on the other side. And the other person that Jordan's his name, reference was Cam Smith, because I think Cam Smith's going to be a problem. And I agree with that. He's the defending champ this week and he's not there, which leads us to our next point in just a second. But I think that there's just law of large numbers. He's going to get swallowed up. I think he's definitely a favorite for a while, but I also wonder, and this is going to be a fun topic to kind of, and I'm teasing I'm going to save it. I've got a final live point towards the end. Actually, who gives a shit? You're not going to
big market tease
after the break.
Yeah,
hey, Ryan Seacrest, UGA guy, go Dogs.
I didn't watch any of Ryan's.
You've never seen American Idol?
I know who I meant on this year's New Year's show. I didn't watch the New Year's Eve show at all with him.
Neither did I. I don't know if you heard, but there was a football. There was a pretty big football game on at New Year's. I didn't exactly go multi-screen. No, I think that it's gonna be interesting to track the live golf and their caliber of play this year when you're not going. They say, was it iron sharpens iron or steel sharpens steel, whatever the freak they say when it's like, hey, yeah, we're excited to go against a good opponent. Okay, well, you're not going against that top-notch, competition anymore. Not the caliber, not the quantity, not the volume, and not the consistency. You chose the cushy lifestyle. Will that impact your preparedness for these major events? Because these are the guys who wanted to have their cake and eat it too. It looks like they're getting their opportunity this year. I don't think that'll ever impact any organizations' decisions on what to do about live golf and their involvement in the majors. I think the majors this was it. We waited to hear from Augusta. Augusta made their stance. They're just going to basically say, we'll honor any existing exemptions, which also means if you get a future one, we're going to honor that too, because the only future exemptions are either through the PGA Tour, World Golf Ranking, or winning one of these majors. So everything's going to be status quo. This is going to be the proving ground. This is going to be the live or die year, pun fully intended.
Because you bring up a great point about the preparation for these major events. They're called majors for a reason, because they carry a weight, they carry
not just
pressure.
About playing a tough course.
Exactly, it's everything that comes with it. It's the course, it's the competition, it's the extra cameras, the extra fans. Like, there's a lot that can affect you mentally when it comes to that. So you bring up a great point that, with the difference in tournaments from the live side, we will get to see if there's rust or not. And I don't want to say rust, because rust is the wrong word. And it might be a case where these guys have been playing the sport all their life for so long, and they've been there before, that maybe they will be. It's going to be like riding a bike, and they'll feel comfortable. Who knows? We'll see. But like you said, we're going to finally get a chance to see now.
All right. And I think rust is an appropriate. I don't think that's a bad word to use, but at the same time, what came to mind for me was this notion that, again, can't go more than 5 minutes without bringing up Georgia football right now. It feels like every year that we have a game or two, like against a Vandy or a Missouri, we saw it against Missouri this year, where all signs point to go in there, curb stomp them, walk out with their girlfriend. Yeah. And all of a sudden we're in a dogfight. And I think it's because we always joke, damn, why do we always play down to our competition, the week before X? And I think that's what you were getting at, which is maybe not rust, but when you only are playing, you only have to beat the competition around you, and that competition as a whole is not as strong. What does that look like over time? We're never going to find out, because the PGA Tour is continuing their ban on the live players to this point, which brings us to our last divot or pivot of day one. Continuing this ban on live players from the PGA Tour, divot or pivot?
I think I'm ready to pivot away from it. I think I'm ready for them to just find a way to everyone live kumbaya, play golf wherever you want. Like, I still am here for the PGA, but I guess we'll see that we're gonna have a really full year now of golf where we're gonna see certain events affected, and I want to see how those events are affected by a lack of a handful of these guys playing, and see if it downgrades the appeal of the event in the end. I don't think it will, which is why I'm saying let's just figure out a way to work out the ranking points and just have a path for everyone to choose their tournaments and play in them, and with knowing the full consequences of if they choose one tournament over another. I think that's what it comes down to, because all these golfers are basically independent contractors. So figure out the ranking points for every tournament, assign them, let them choose, they pick their path.
I'm all for the PGA Tour continuing their stance on not allowing live players to play in their tournaments. I'm with you in the sense that I love the tour. I love live, and I can't wait to go back and see live again when they figure out their Boston location. Rumor has it they're coming back early June. But I'm not saying this out of any kind of hatred. I think you pointed it out. Everybody's shown their cards. The beef is not with the PGA Tour. The beef is with the official World Golf Ranking. Now, there's circular logic in that, because PGA Tour, USGA, all of these governing bodies kind of influence that. So how does LIV get their seat at the table? I think that LIV has earned an opportunity to be heard out and say, give us one more full year. Last year wasn't even like a beta test. Last year was by the way, South Park got their start. Originally it was a video Christmas card. You can Google the original one. Funny as shit. And it was a video Christmas card that Trey Parker and what's the other dude's name? Matt Trey.
I don't know.
Anyways, Trey Parker and the other originator, they got commissioned. It went out. It went viral before viral was a thing, but it went viral amongst the right people. That voila, that's how South Park is born. Look it up. Hilarious stuff. Anyway, this was their Christmas card. This year was their, hey, we've got something here. Can you look at us? Okay, cool. Year 2, this is their pilot year. This is their pilot episode. You get another year under these current conditions. And I think what they should do is, and this is what they should petition the official World Golf Ranking Organization and say, freeze our current rankings, please. Everybody's shown what they think of us. Okay, cool. Let us again go out, show that we have a profitable, whatever the regulations are, whatever measuring stick. But I would say, let us go out and show that we are attracting crowds. We're here to stay. We obviously have the financial backing. What you may think of them personally should be irrelevant to sport. There's gonna be people out there, oh, you're in favor of sports washing. No, I'm not. I think there's enough degrees removed that you can put down your iPhone that was built by slaves in Chinese labor camps and just give everybody a breath. And like we've been saying, let these independent contractors go out and show that they've got something, and then come back and say, hey, look what happened. A live golfer won a major this year. Live golfers performed this well on the DP World Tour, at the majors, X, Y, and Z. Can we have a conversation? Now, we're not going to play as many tournaments with as big of fields, so we do understand that they might be watered down, which is why you do have to maximize your opportunities when you do get to a major, or when the DP World Tour lets you around. And then I think the PGA Tour might say, all right, whatever DP's been doing, we'll do what they're doing. They might let you back in. But I say keep it up right now and give LIV another chance this year to show they've got a product worthy of earning World Golf Ranking points, because that's where their beef is. PGA Tour like you said, they're a business and they're just looking out for their best interest. And and I have no problem with them saying, these are the rules. You made your decision. Sure. And hey, you guy over there who's a +9, blah, 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 been grinding your whole life. Come on, your opportunity. You're next.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm close to a +9. You think I might get a call?
Okay. So was that a tongue? Do you know what it means? Do you know what it means to be a plus?
Totally. What are you talking? I thought you were talking handicap.
I am. So when you put plus in front of your handicap, that means you're going under. That means a +9. So pros are like a +9. You can look up. People have done the calculations, and like Tiger Woods' handicap would have been like a +11.2 on this like run. That's why when I was like,
I had it backwards then, because I've never referred to it as plus or minus. It's always just been 13 or 12.
It's the weirdest thing. So as you start getting closer to 0, no, it's the weirdest thing. It doesn't make much sense. It kind of does. I don't know. But yeah, no, plus just means you're going in the opposite direction. So LIV's going to be around. It's going to show up every week. As obviously we just exhibited, there's going to be some LIV players who might perform. PGA Tour might have to get some stuff figured out and let them back in. But something that's going to kind of take us from LIV and has taken us off the course a lot and is going to be another segment called Tee Time.
Okay. While you introduce Tee Time, I'm going to disappear from the camera for a quick second because one of my lights in my apartment that I'm alone in just shut itself off from another room. Just going to check it out.
All right. If Andrew doesn't come back in 5 minutes, what do you think? How long could you fend off a predator right now? We'll find out. Go. So Tee Time is going to be a segment where we spill the tea on what's going on in the golf world off the course. It's going to be off course, on topic, and all golf. Things we see in social media, things that we heard in the broadcast, things that might have happened on our own weekend rounds. And so the first thing that we're going to be talking about in Tee Time this week, well, it was going to be the LIV golfers, but obviously we already skipped through that, is Augusta National. And I don't have any listen, if you haven't seen the coverage of Augusta National recently in the Masters tournament, they built a magnificent, huge, massive, beautiful, state-of-the-art media complex on their grounds. I can't wait to step inside one day and ask Tiger a question. That is my goal in this universe. Andrew's back, so it looks like we're alive. The boogeyman is gone.
Shut off. Continue.
Andrew, you totally missed it. I just introduced everybody to Tee Time. We're going to spill the tea and talk about things that we see off the course but are in the golf community, such as our friends at Augusta National this week. And so Tee Time topic number 1, first on the tee, Augusta National. They sent, and if you didn't see this, you got to go Google it. They sent, and Christmas time is always big for the Masters because traditionally that's when they send out their invitations. And so these guys have been waiting and waiting and waiting. And poor Scott Stallings. Scott Stallings might be the most fit human I've ever seen save Tiger Woods on the PGA Tour. He bulked up, he's slimmed back down, but Scott Stallings was waiting for his invitation, and he gets a DM from somebody named Scott Stallings. And the DM basically says, "Hi, Scott. My name is also Scott Stallings, and my wife's name is also Jennifer. We also live in the town where you live, and we just got this package from Augusta National inviting me to play. I'm good, but not that good. Like, wow, hit me up. I'm not joking." And he sent pictures, and it turned out to be true.
It was so funny. Isn't the other Scott Stallings all like an amateur golfer though? He's not like just some guy. Doesn't he play amateur golf?
Yeah, I think. I mean, he said. I mean, he even said in his little text, like his text. I'm so filled dumpy right now. And by the way, I heard somebody misuse the phrase "slid into his DMs" and had to get corrected. And they're like, "No, dude, no, you just sent him a message. You didn't slide into his DMs. You just sent him a message. Like that's not how that term is used." So yeah, this realtor gets it. And my point is this: what in the heavenly hell has to happen for Augusta National to screw that up? And I'm a very forgiving person. I'm probably my wife, I'm probably the clumsiest person alive. I'll break things. My iPhone that's only 6 months old has a shattered screen, but that's all internal pain. You know, this is a premier, you are a world-class exclusive, forget the fact that you're an exclusive club. This is a premier, this would be like me getting an invitation in the mail to the Oscars.
Yeah, don't they save their addresses from previous years? It's not like it's his first time playing. Like
what intern Googled Scott Stallings and Scott? I'm gonna find out. Scott. Oh, there he is. Scott. Jennifer.
That's what it had to have been. That like an intern or
someone
new or something like that.
Because when you go on and you Google like old friends or in your case exes, and sorry too soon, and you see like names listed as pairs. I've seen mine. It says like Michael and Allison and everybody. My government name is Michael, but you see that. I guarantee you somebody just like on the white pages or some Google results just saw like Scott and Jennifer Stallings, 123 Main Street. So my advice for Augusta National, because I know they're listening, lean into it. Absolutely take this as an opportunity to have somebody on your, and if you don't have a social media team, get one. They produce beautiful content, but that's not the same thing as what I'm talking about. They need to lean into this and show some personality and kind of wear the egg, and they need to go on. And first of all, the other Scott Stallings better be at the Masters this year. He better be getting VIP tickets. Go ahead.
Oh, so that's what I was going to say. I want him to be there because I think that would also be what achieving what you're saying, showing their personality. Hell, you know what I say? Send them out for the honorary tee shot. Let them join in with that. Why not? Just lean into it.
Yeah, why don't we just walk right into the Vatican and start, saying whatever prayers that other religions say? Are you serious? You got Jack and
No, I'm not serious. I don't actually want this realtor Scott Stallings to be teeing it up with the but if they
I do. I want him in the field. I want him in the field. I want them to send it out and say,
they did that, would I find a problem with it? No. Would I think it's kind of funny and like because I bet you Jack and them would like play it up and whatnot, but I don't think they would.
Okay, so first of all, yes, I agree that everybody would have a sense of humor about it. I disagree that that's the venue to portray it because of the hallowed ground of what that tee shot means, who's done it before. You don't. That's not where you introduce the one-off. I was going to say actually right now I was saying fuck it, just give an invitation, be like, all right, dude, no, that was meant for you. The other one's in the mail. That would be a bridge too far as well.
Yeah.
What I was suggesting was a public, not even apology, admission, and almost an acknowledgement that. And here's the best part. Get a deep fake of Bobby Jones and have him do it and just say, I dear Scott, just heard about this. And to the realtor Scott, dear Scott, just heard about this, takes news a little extra, to get to where I am. We don't exactly have Wi-Fi yet. We're like ham it up and then just say, you actually do have a package coming in the mail. As soon as I heard about it, we look forward to seeing you. And that's where you can say at the dinner or,
something.
You're going to stay overnight in the Eisenhower cabin, some shit, and we look forward to seeing you. And then to the other Scott, then he sends some sort of motivational message to others. But you have there's the wink, wink, nod, nod towards, we get it. It's 2022. We've got to acknowledge this. So let's go overboard. IBM's our chief partner. You don't tell me they can't whip up some Bobby Jones AI apology and get that out there. I think this is one of the best things that could have happened to Augusta National because every other time they're in the news, it's about being exclusionary. It's about being, whatever. So I say lean into it.
Yeah, I'm there for that too. Just like where we jokingly got around, but in all seriousness, do it in the right way. But yes, all right. I'm there for that.
Second spot, because this is a fantasy golf show, and I know we are 38 minutes into it, and we are going to get to it. I'm excited about it this year.
I'm excited about it. We're really going to get comfortable and used to limiting ourselves to certain time frames for all these segments. We're going to roll for a while.
Well, shit, dude. Nobody knows you're shooting from the hip if you hit the target. Haven't I said that before?
Hell yeah.
This is a serious one. I just turned 40. You're going to turn 40 soon. We got kids. We just saw what happened in the Bills game last night. Humanity, we are humans. And what we do is fun, but you got to step back. Paige Sporanic, she gets a lot of shit because of how she got her name, which is by being really hot and good at golf. Oh my God. She's got a rack and she can putt. And she leans into it, and I think she's wonderful. She's a great contributor to the game. She's a wonderful ambassador for everything. And she had a little bit of a medical scare, and she disappeared. And so I just wanted to say that, thoughts are often with Paige. No, but honestly, I think it's one of those things. Get your checkups, folks. Be human. Take care of yourself. If you see something, say something. And it's because I was telling my wife about this, and she goes, well, you know what that means for you, don't you? And I was like, I know.
You know what time it is when you turn 40.
I do. I do. Trust me. Listen, y'all are going to hear about it when it happens. So that was another little piece of tea that I saw out there that I wanted to make sure we mentioned. And then last but certainly not least, there was a story about a couple in New Zealand. I don't know if you saw this. They rang in the new year by playing by not only playing golf together, but back-to-back aces. Thoughts about same
hole.
Thoughts about
what?
Thoughts about playing golf with significant others, and B, have you ever had a hole in one? Have we talked about this?
Yes to the first one. I have no problem playing golf with a significant other. I've never had the chance to, so maybe I would change my mind if it happened and I get to experience it. But the thought of doing that, I'd be fine with. I've never had a hole in one. The closest I've ever came was back when I was in. Oh God, I was working at a golf course at the time. It was like 2012, I think. And I think I came within like 7 inches. It's like the closest I came.
Pause. So we'll find out some point in 2023 if vet techs like golf. I love it. I wish my roommate would play golf more. I don't think she has.
I just heard what you said.
I don't think she has the patience. I don't think she has the patience for the game. I mean that in sincerity. Not everybody was meant to play golf. I love how people are like, nah, golf is for everybody. No, golf is not for everybody. That's absolutely true. She's wonderful with the simulator, and I think Pop Stroke would be fun. Of course it would. No, but I think that's going to be in Top Golf. She loves Top Golf. As a matter of fact, first time we went to Top Golf, Tampa, say that 10 times fast, after a buddy's wedding, and she beat me. She topped a bunch of balls like right into the very first target. And I was trying to be Norm on Jeopardy. I was trying to just go deep the whole time. And all of a sudden it was too late and she had built up a lead I couldn't pass. I was like, she beat me. So yes, anyways, shouts to everybody out there trying to get through life with golf on their side. Now, Andrew.
Yes, we're ready for it. The question is, are you ready for it?
So for those of you just joining us, this whole party started about a year ago. Andrew sent out a flyer on Twitter, said like, listen, fantasy guy looking to just kind of dig more into fantasy golf. Anybody out there want to talk about it? I said, I'm your Huckleberry, which is one of the greatest movie references of all time. It's up there with The Dude Abides and Rosebud. He taught me the ways. We started with tiers, and then we moved into the classic lineups. By the end of it, I had amassed a lead he couldn't overcome, and I basically done and dusted was 2022. Much like Liv, I'll chalk that up to that was our South Park Christmas card. This year, we're playing with live ammo. It gets real. We're going to have a season-long Nassau going for our fantasy game. We're going to go $5 to whoever wins the most DK points throughout the entire year. $5 to whoever has the highest week total. Whoever sets that high water mark gets $5, and then $10 to whoever wins the most weeks between the two of us. We start this week. We run through the FedEx Cup playoffs. Do we have any questions about our scoring?
Not at all. I will be creating a graphic so that we can pop up the current scores each week, so everyone watching can play along and keep track, so that everyone knows also that Bud can't cheat. So as he flies
do not
around.
cheat.
But yeah, no, and look, we're starting.
I don't know how to
do
math.
Tournament of Champions. It's January 3rd, and we're gonna run through this year. And what a better place than to start with a small field at a beautiful course at the Kapalua. Am I saying that right? Kapalua. Hell yeah, the Kapalua Plantation course. It's gonna be a birdie fest.
It is going to be a birdie fest. It always is. Kapalua Plantation course, 7,600 yards roughly. It fluctuates. Cam Smith, we mentioned it earlier, defending champ, not going to be there. I'm starting to get into kind of like Mel Kiper territory. Not going to be there. My sources are telling me he's going to be down under, swimming in money. Really butthurt about it. You know what? That's gonna be the other thing too to watch out is how do these guys react when they start seeing missed opportunities go by. They say it doesn't bother them, but
do they get a little case of what's it, FOMO? A little case of FOMO.
Yeah, definitely. But 7,600 yards, par 73. It is a birdie fest. They got wide fairways. They got massive greens. They got a lot of elevation changes, and it's always 70 to 80 degrees with like no wind. It's like 10-mile-an-hour wind.
At least the past few years there hasn't been any wind. I feel like back in the past there was wind was a potential factor, and that it just hasn't played out that way recently.
Well, I think it's kind of, I mean, it's Hawaii. It's a fucking island. So I think at any given moment, a giant gust could come off and, get in there. So they are playing on Celebration Bermuda tee to green. It's the 25th time that they have hosted the Tournament of Champions at Kapalua. And this was the first love child of Core and Crenshaw, the famous dynamic duo, who's also, they did a handful of courses in the Bandon area. I don't think they did Bandon Dunes proper, but I know they did like the Sheep's Head project, as well as Old Sandwich here in Plymouth, Mass. So that team has been together doing some things. They're also going to be redoing the International, the Pines course. We saw Liv at the Oaks course last year. Pines course is going to get a makeover from Core and Crenshaw. And it'll be interesting to see if they come back there.
Well, the same duo just redid this course, the Kapalua Plantation course, back in 2019. So they had some recent fresh upgrades to it as well.
Yep. So as we alluded to, sunny, easy to get around there, and massive fairways.
Yeah, this is scoring.
The best about this, real quick, before we get into keys for success for each of us, if you ever want to go back and see Tiger at, I'm not gonna say peak Tiger, it was intro Tiger, but him and Ernie Els went toe to toe back in the early 2000s into the wee hours of the night out there, and Tiger finally winning it on the fourth playoff hole by draining like a 25-foot monster. And it got me thinking. The keys to success for me are as follows: number one, putting. Number two, and no particular order, but number one, putting. Number two, birdies are better, and number three, strokes gained approach. I'm not too worried about off the tee this week, because even the short knockers are going to get some help with the wind and the elevation changes. We've seen shorter hitters win out here. So when it's a birdie fest, everything's 150 yards and in for these guys. So like I said, strokes gained approach, which is basically that kind of test all, or feeling, all around feeling of how a player is playing. Strokes gained putting, because that's the other way to score. And then birdies are better. Those are my three for the week.
We pretty much have the same ones. I have tee to green. I have birdies are better. It's like you said. It's all the main scoring ones. You just gotta score here, and you want guys to not go backwards, because a bogey backwards here is just gonna be like you're losing 2 strokes, because everyone else around you the odds are they're gonna be scoring. So, yeah.
All right. So real quick. Well, no, it's important to point that out, because there isn't anything outside. This really is kind of like a skills fest for these guys. It is who's the sharpest right now, because we're playing on a pretty easy course, and so go out there and have at it.
Who's got great form right now?
And you bring it up because who's got great form right now is Sadith Thigala.
One of your favorites.
He is. He was runner-up at the RSM. He won that team event a couple of weeks ago. So talking about people who are in current form right now, he didn't rank high in my model when I plugged it into the Fantasy National. The little model generator there. He didn't get too deep into that, but he still is somebody I'm keeping an eye on this week just because of his current form. And actually, you know what? I left out one.
Don't steal it from me.
Oh, I'm not stealing them from you. I'm just saying I did add, because of my 3 keys to success, whereas told, approach, putting, and birdie are better. But on my model, I also added short game, because again, even if the approach is off, but you're dunking, you're dunking a couple chips, you might have an eagle hole out once or twice. That's going to make a big difference when you're trying to reach for 30, 34 under, somewhere in there.
Definitely. Well, look, what we'll do is we'll give you, because your Sahith Thigala is right around 7,300 on DraftKings right now, so it's a nice value play for me. So I'm gonna stick with a value play as well right here. My value play this week is Seamus Power. Finished tied for fifth at the RSM, tied for third at Worldwide Technology a couple weeks ago, and he won the Butterfield Bermuda. So if you want to talk about good form, the man's stroking it right now. Finished T49 at the CJ Cup as well. But he also,
I'm sure there are plenty of men stroking it right now.
He is also, as far as the birdies stats, he's right around the 20 range, which in a field like this is closer to the middle than it is to the top. But still, like I said, because he's been playing so hot recently, I did those stats of birdies over the last 36 rounds because it's first of the year. Some guys have taken a bunch of weeks off, so I want to make sure I captured a lot of things here. I would suspect if I should cut that down to the last 16, 24 rounds, he would be probably top 15 in all those stats. So Seamus Power for me at 7,200 is a fantastic play in my eyes.
So there are your value picks for the weeks. Thigala and Power. And as Andrew pointed out, nobody strokes it like Seamus. But we're going to start at the top and go down real quick. If you've never done fantasy before, I'm going to be your teacher. A couple of terms you're going to hear. Basically, chalk. Chalk means what you see on a chalkboard. It's what you're expecting. It's up there. You might have to eat it sometimes. Chalk can be good because sometimes you got to have those points to form a base, but other times you don't want too much chalk because then you run into a problem with leverage and ownership. Andrew, leverage and ownership is what?
Leverage is ownership is making sure you have an edge over the rest of the field, because if rest of the field is scoring, say 30% of the field has one guy and he's scoring the same amount of points as the guy that you have at 5% owned, or the guy at 5% owned scores say 2 points higher, you're jumping a massive portion of the field there. So you want to find all those little edges you can in those senses.
That's right. Leverage is difference makers. And then fades are people we want to stay away from. So as we go through the 10K range and down each 1,000, we are going to basically just pick a person that we like, a person we don't like. Might do a couple more, but the odd basically say who you want, who do you not want. We're not necessarily laying out a lineup for you. We're just kind of going through and objectively putting our massive brains together and saying, here are the feelings that we like. Now, 10K range made it simple this week. Rory backed out, and he's getting a lot of shit for that. The flag bearer. We're not even. I had that slated for some tea time talk, but it's not really off course, not really on course. It's just kind of boring. I didn't want to go down that road. So between the two, Scotty Scheffler and Jon Rahm, I'm going to be saying, yeah, Jon Rahm is who you want to lean into there. That's who I like. I would go with Jon Rahm from the 10K range because he was runner-up last week and he hits the ball so freaking long. Now, Scotty Scheffler is not exactly a schlub off the tee either. I just think with the recency bias in Jon Rahm, in the Kapalua, I would go Jon Rahm in the 10K range if you're going to pony up 10K on a small field like this.
So I'm actually going to disagree here. I'm going to pay the extra 300 for Scotty Scheffler here. Finished top 10 in 2 of his last 3 tournaments in the last 3 weeks. And his tournament history here, I just had it in front of me. He didn't play here last year, but he finished T13 2021. What I like about him, and we're going to go right into that ownership leverage play, Scotty Scheffler is projected at 17% calculated ownership compared to Jon Rahm at 30%. And for me, that's worth the $300 when it's that big of a difference for someone who could put up the same score.
Yeah, I agree. The odds of me actually playing Jon Rahm in my lineup are slim to none. I'm just saying truth came to my head between those two. I agree with your points, though, on Scotty. I just think that, like I said, I'm all about the juju, especially in these small fields. It's so hard to kind of play the numbers accurately. But we're going to try it anyway.
To avoid chalk.
You can't avoid in a small field. That's why I brought that up earlier. You have to swallow some because there's only so many guys out there. It's not like this person grabs, X number of points and you got a potential 154 other guys. There's only 40 other guys. Well, here we got 38. So in that second tier, I'm sticking with my recency bias. I'm going to say if you really, really, really want somebody to feel good about and maybe plant a flag under, it's Justin Thomas. Pardon my burping. Not only is he always, he's top 10 in birdies or better. He's top 10 in short game, and he's top 25 in putting, which I would have expected higher, but he's top 14 in approach. And also he's won out here before. I just think that he's a guy that would step into that vacuum created by Rory being gone and kind of have that presence. There's plenty of good names in the 9K with Fitzpatrick and Morikawa being a ball striker, but he's just been playing horrible lately. So that would actually be my fade, would be Colin Morikawa fade, and Justin Thomas. Dig into it.
Yeah, I'm fine with fading Morikawa. And I'm looking right now at playing another kind of value play here, because if I am going to get some of these top guys in here, I'm going to need to save some money. And the next guy I'm looking at personally is Aaron Wise, coming in at under 20% owned this week. He ranks 14th in my model, 3rd in bogeys avoid, and top 20 in tee to green and birdies are better. So I'm liking Aaron Wise at 7,400 to shape me up to get some high end 8K, low end 9K guys to round out my lineup.
Listen, people who I'm not related to and don't know intimately have also stated publicly that they like Aaron Weiss. So you might be onto something there, sir. Dropping down to the 8K range, somebody, I'm just going to say it right off the rip. I don't care. I love him dearly, but until we know what that back's doing, fading Will Zalatoris hard and fast. We have to see.
Yeah, there's too much unknown with the way that season ended. Too much.
I mean, it's like in fantasy football, somebody coming off an ACL, it's their first game back. You don't give a shit what happened in preseason. You got to see a few live snaps before you go into them. And the person actually ranks super, super high on my own little model. So this is the 8K range where I'm going to trust the science and go into it. He's second on my model is Sammy Burns. Last year he really rocketed up, basically everybody's charts. He didn't actually get to number 1 in the Billboard on any level, but he's entering top 10 in several categories, including adult contemporary and R&B, little known fact. So Sammy Burns, give him a look in that 8K range. And sure. Willie Z, I love you, but I'll see you at Augusta.
Yeah, fair enough. And look, someone else who I think is worth mentioning here, it's going to be his first tournament, at least in the last month. I'm not sure what he played before that, but at least in the last 4 weeks, this guy has not played, but he's a seasoned vet. And it's the type of course where I think you can just walk on a little cold and still be able to deliver some fantasy points. Mr. Adam Scott coming in at 7,600. It might be one of those where, like I said, just to be able to afford some higher end guys, I might squeeze him in once or twice. I
saw a side-by-side of his swing from when he was – it actually got my posture so bad right now. I saw a side-by-side of his swing from when he was like 19 years old until now. And he admittedly, when he was younger, started shaping his swing after Tigers. It's funny. There's a portion of the late 90s, early 2000s where you look at their swing side-by-side and it's almost indistinguishable. Now Tiger's swing looks much more like Rory's, which is funny because we talked about that the other week. But he's a handsome man. Like Adam Scott is one of those guys who I'm just like, I want to be like Adam Scott. George Clooney used to be my little muse for life.
He always looks happy.
He's Australian, looks like he does, and plays golf for a living. Like, what is there not to be? And I don't know if you saw that picture of him celebrating at the Masters when he was standing all chest out and everything. But you got a lot to be happy about and proud about. You know what I'm talking about?
Fair enough.
I agree with Adam Scott. I do like that. And I don't know where I came off on that because I just went right down a rabbit hole of Adam Scott. We're in the 7K range now. Good.
Yes.
Woo. Sorry, things get a little steamy in which city.
I just realized I've been slinging it. I jumped right past the hole. We're in the 9K range, 8K range, and jumped right down to 7K both times. So I was just flowing because I'm building my lineup live. So that is why.
That's fine. And like a good teacher, I just let you stay away from Bunsen burner and sharp objects. No, but I do agree with Adam Scott. I was actually he was going to be somebody I was going to lean into for all the reasons you talked about, but he ranked so low on my model. I'm going to trust the science down there. And in this 7K range, there's a name that we have some off-camera discussion to have about Keegan Bradley. He's 10th in my model.
He's interesting. I know he was tempting this week.
Very tempting this week. In the main categories, 7, 16, and 13 for me. He's 32nd. Dadgummit. Sorry, he's 32nd in strokes gained approach, but he ranks highly enough. Like I said, birdies are better, short game and putting. That as long as he's hitting it somewhat okay, if he's stroking it, as you would put, really well, and his short game is on par, pun intended, he could sneak in and do some damage this week. Now, we're not trying to pick winners here. We're just trying to look at guys who can get a good run, get hot, make a bunch of birdies. So I say Keegan Bradley, come on down. And just because I think he's annoying the shit out of me, no scientific reason for this at all. I just saw his name, and it made me really cringe. Billy Horschel, take your little gator chomping self and your 5 gallons of Pall Mall or whatever the hell you were slicking back your hair with at the President's Cup and have a seat. I think he kind of embarrassed himself in the whole live thing.
Of course,
He's the guy who, when everybody starts kind of like throwing their pads against the lockers to kind of get hyped or something, he takes the glass TV off the wall and smashes it. And everybody's like, dude, what do you?
Too far, man.
So yeah, Billy, you can be faded this week.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with that too. A guy I do want to ask.
Yeah, no, everybody knows you're not on the same page as the rest of the class. So let's just go off script now. 6K. Go ahead.
Well, so 6K, honestly, in this tournament, I don't think there's much of a need to get down to it because it's going to be a top-heavy tournament. I don't think there's going to be too much value down there, honestly. I don't know if you feel different, but I didn't really find anyone in the 6K range that I felt worth playing. They all ended up at the bottom of my model for good reason.
100% agreed.
Okay.
The only person down there that I would say keep an eye on if you had to would be Tom Hoagie. He just came off that win with what's his face, Thigala at the Partner Classic or whatever the hell that tournament's called. I don't pay attention to golf.
The Partner Classic.
Yeah, whatever the fuck ever.
Other than that,
and I would
terrible form right now. He's missed his last 2 cuts.
Right. I would say fade JT Poston too. While the guy is a birdie machine, this is too big of a stage. And I agree with you. 6K, I wouldn't even frig around with it. I think with this talent pool, you can put together several strong lineups with the 7 and 8K talent. You don't even need 9Kers in there, but I think you can get away with a couple of lineups with those 9K guys as your anchors and then just have fun with it. We'll see. We will be sharing, our results later on as they come in. But as we close up shop on week 1, season 2, Divots and Pivots extraordinaire, what's something you're looking? I already said earlier, I already shared my homework. What's something that you are looking? Yeah. See, this is why you start checking your email. And I'll repeat just because anybody who missed it earlier. I am paying attention to Live this year. I want to pay attention closely. I want to pay attention intimately. I want to circle back with our buddy Zach Helfand to get his perspective because even though he's not a golf reporter, he's a sports guy at heart. And he might come back and do another story on this, but he'll definitely be paying attention to it. I'm going to be paying attention to it because I think the human element is there. These pro golfers who have taken the money. I'm not shaming them. I just think that in the moment they took the money and they thought this is a cushier. Last year, I said I respect their decisions. I didn't say it's the same one I would have made.
Yeah,
because stepping back, just like I made fun of you earlier because it was on the brain. Not making fun of you. That's always on the brain. I'm just kidding. I love you, buddy. It was good to see you. It was good to see you last week.
It was. We had a good time.
Yeah, we'll be back. Shouts to the clubhouse too. Those guys treat us right. It's a great place to go. We're gonna be there often. But you said that avoiding anxiety. I gave you shit for using avoiding anxiety or kind of, not pushing too hard as a reason to do something or avoid something. And when people like Pat Perez say, I've put in my dues and here's a payday, I get that. If people are looking for, and I think this is where maybe guys like what's Tubbs McGee from Georgia, who I give shit to, everybody gives shit to, Patrick Reed. If Tubbs would have thought longer and harder about the decision he was making and realized nobody likes you anywhere, but I do. I love you, Patrick. I'd love to play golf with him and get some tips. That's called hedging, kids. If some of those guys who thought, here, I'm going to go over here, make more money and work less. I think they had to have do it. They had to have done it knowing this is a one-time buyout. Yeah. And they have plans after that. The sustainability of Live, I'm not saying it's dead. I'm just saying the sustainability to live and make money at the levels that they had got brought in on and have been accustomed to if they succeed over the PGA Tour are not going to present themselves. So what happens when you're Cam Smith and you see the purse this week at your tournament is $15 million? We didn't even get into. We'll get into it next week because it'll be afterwards when we talk about how much fucking money the winner's going to make. There's a lot of tournaments with a lot of more money, not Live money, but a lot of money.
More compared to what they were before.
And that'll introduce the whole Phil Mickelson, was he right, was he wrong, blah, 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 nest egg thing. But watch how these guys behave. Watch their social media. Watch their public interaction. Watch how guarded it has become because they do sign away a lot of their media rights when they go play for Live. They don't have to be hermits or anything, but they can't be as accessible. And also track their social media. Are there off-course obligations? Do you notice them popping up in more of these other social media, Instagram, TikTok feeds of people being like, holy shit, DJ just showed up for 18 holes with some company that my dad owns and his grandfather built and blah, blah, blah. Or, oh my God, my cousin's the sultan of this. And so-and-so just showed up. Brooks Koepka just, because the trade-off is there. And these guys know what that life is like when Goldman Sachs says, yeah, well, we'll give you X amount of dollars to put our name on your hat. You just got to play with our partners 2-3 times a year, come to the corporate out. That's all familiar. This is new territory. These are new shackles. Nah, that's a wrong word.
Yeah.
These are new restrictions. These are new things to get used to. Yeah. How is it going to wear on these guys when they are used to certain way? We'll see.
It's going to be an interesting season. I'm looking forward to this golf season more than ever. And hey, let's not forget that sometime in the next month or so here, we're going to get the what's it called? Anticipated indoor Tiger Rory experience. Let's not forget that that's coming at some point here soon, because I just remembered that right now. I almost forgot about it. And do I think it's going to be more fun and silly than it is serious? Yes, but I'm going to tune in and see what it's like. Why not?
For many reasons, you've made me the happiest man on Twitter. And you just added a reason to that, because I forgot all about that.
I know
this indoor.
I know the media of it has just slipped.
How are you going to compete with NFL playoffs?
Yeah,
but that is, I'm actually incredibly excited for it. I do think it's going to be a little silly. But I think it's going to capture. I think it's going to capture a lot of attention, because here are going to be faces and names that people who don't play golf recognize, and they're going to be doing things that they can actually connect with, which is going to sound weird. Sitting in a because I got to feel it's going to look like some of these other game shows with the big stadium they're building and all the more shit. Forgot all about that, Andrew. So, all right, my homework is to learn a little bit more about that. Your homework is to read the show rundowns that I send them to you. And everybody else's homework is to go and click subscribe, like, listen, share this with a friend. If you enjoyed it this week, come back next week. If you missed us, I don't know why you would be listening to this in the first place, but tell a friend, hey, say, listen, at the gym, next car ride, turn on Divots and Pivots, zone out for an hour, laugh, cry, live a little. Back to you in the studio, Andrew.
Yes, catch us always here on YouTube. And then, as always, we will be uploading to your Spotify's, your iHeartRadios, your Google Pods, your Apple Pods, your Amazon Pods, wherever you choose to get your podcast, we will be there. And we'll be ready for you to listen anytime you want on demand. Season 2 is not in the books. It's the start of season 2 is in the books. Season 1 is in the books, but we are just getting started for season 2, and we're ready to roll. We're ready to be here for you. Tune in next week to see how both of us did against each other in the Tournament of Champions. We will update on Twitter at the end of each day as the weekend goes on. So make sure to follow, subscribe, do all the fun stuff to get all of our updates. And we'll see you here next Tuesday, as always, to keep us rolling. But I had a great time as always. Look forward to seeing all you again next week, and have a fantastic night.